Welcome to another episode of Zero Code. Today, we have an absolute legend in the blockchain, Metaverse, and NFT space. This gentleman is a powerhouse, a strategic advisor, a thought leader, and a creative visionary. I'm talking, of course, about the one and only Krishna. Krishna has been working with some of the biggest brands on the planet, such as Nike and Coca-Cola, and has been instrumental in managing multiple cross-functional communication streams, all while developing groundbreaking concepts that connects the physical world to the metaverse. He's also advisor, chief creative officer at Zero Code, and the creative director at Evolve. Krishna has been recognized by the Copenhagen Institute of Future Studies as one of the 66 leaders and experts in the metaverse space, and he's been invited to speak at Entrepreneur India, the Web3 Summit 2023, and let me tell you, my friends, he knows a little bit about the space. So without further ado, let's dive into the exciting world of blockchain, the metaverse, NFTs, and how they apply to the most progressive brands in the world. Welcome to the podcast, Krishna. We've been working together now for a few months. We've been collaborating on a few projects. And of course, we met in a Web3 fashion, and I was blown away with the amount of experience you have and the brands that you've worked with. So very excited to have you with me on the podcast and to, of course, inform and educate and share knowledge with our community. So let's get started. Who is Krishna? Tell us a bit about yourself.
So who's Krishna? I'm trying to figure it out myself still. But I'm a person that is kind of a little bit hyperactive sometimes. I don't have ADHD or something like that. My mom probably has me tested for that. I'm a person that has a million thoughts in 1 second. I'm very creative, but I like to learn a lot of new things, especially technology, looking at marketing. Those topics are one of those things that I really enjoy reading about. So I'm a very curious person, I would say. So that's Krishna.
So how did you get started in marketing? Take us through the days, and how did it evolve from that Web 2 days to Web 3 today and your activity here?
I started at Nike. I just graduated and I had just a side job doing it. But before I graduated, I was working at Puma store in The Hague, Amsterdam, Antwerp, and it kind of got me into sales and marketing during that period. And after graduating, I got the chance to work at Nike, and it started there. I started learning so much from all the people around me, became part of the sneakers platform, sneakers core team. And yeah, it's hard not to get motivated and learning from everybody around you. So yeah, sneakers was, I think, one of the biggest learning curves for me. I met marketing directors, VPs, different departments, from innovation to the New York studio VP, and you are a little bit more, how do you say it? You get motivated when you see them work, when you talk to them, and it gives you like the extra push to learn more and the hunger in marketing as well. So I had some very good leaders guiding me during that period.
Okay, perfect. So that probably explains all the Nike, artifacts behind you. Okay, so tell us in your journey as a creative, then why Web3? How did Web3 become interesting for you?
When I entered blockchain, it was more curiosity. It was more looking at, what is this utility? What is this? What people are talking about? I started as a skeptical person, like, okay, digital money, what is it? What is Bitcoin? But on the moment when you start reading up to it, what the core value and the idea behind it is, it's about how to connect and how to do data in a whole different way, where it's almost flawless. You cannot hack it. Or also look at what kind of opportunities are there. I remember CZ saying something. The internet is just a new technology for transferring information. That was Web 2. Web 3 is the blockchain is just a new technology transferring value. And that's something that also was stuck with me. It's like, okay, what is blockchain and what can we do with it? And on the moment when you start looking into retail type of space or retail way of thinking, you will have so many use cases, from authenticating products to identifying real products. We see a lot of posts by Nike lately. Yeah, StockX is selling people fake products and that kind of thing. So if you connect those type of things with each other, you can, if I buy something from StockX, I can go to a certain website of Nike and see if it's the real product just by a certain code that is connected to a digital contract or Ethereum contract, right? So on that moment, I started to read more and got more involved with the Web3 space or blockchain space, and eventually Web3 NFTs came. Same mindset, like, why should I pay for a JPEG this much money? Now I'm regretting it because I could have bought a few Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs, but I shouldn't listen to my brain too much, I guess, in this space often. So yeah, missed out on that. But it shows now with NFTs, like, okay, there are so many use cases now being developed. It's not just a JPEG anymore. It's something that has utility behind it. So I started getting more into it and learning more, reading about more. At Nike, I started helping some directors on this space as well. On, okay, what is blockchain? What is NFT? What are the concept ideas that we can connect, and how will the future look like in this space?
Was that pre or after Artifact?
Well, it started with Artifact. I was already like talking.
Before we get into Artifact, maybe you just can explain to our audience, what is Artifact?
So Artifact is an NFT project that wasn't connected with Nike in the beginning, but eventually Nike bought them, bought the whole company. I really like the strategy behind it. Why learn if you can buy the whole company and have your advisors and experts right away part of your whole corporation?
So what does Artifact do?
So Artifact is a digital fashion house. You can say they are creating digital wearables for Decentraland or Metaverse projects. But what they are now doing is also connecting it to physical products. You can say phygital. And that's the thing where Nike comes in. I guess Artifact has a strong community, and Nike wanted to be part of it. But if you look at also the design of the avatars of the Clone X, it really fits the Nike type of way of campaigns, Nike type of art. So I think that was one of those moments where Nike thought, okay, they kind of reflect our idea of this space, so we want to be part of it. But also, if there's a whole new space being created where new wearables are digitized, sneakers are digitized. Nike is well known for the sneakers, of course. And there was no other project, so far I know, during that time that was highly focused on wearables, apparel, and sneakers. So I think on those type of grounds, Nike thought, like, okay, we will work with them. We will take them over. Probably they, of course, went to the team and want to learn more about it. But also just understanding what the space was. Because a few years back, nobody would thought about so many brands entering the space. All the brands were like, yeah, it's probably something that will go over in a few months. But now Artifact, Bored Ape Yacht Club showed that they are here to stay and can collaborate. So if you look at the avatars, that the Clone X avatars that they created, they gave all the people that own the NFT all the 3D files, so they can animate them. They can use it for games or do all crazy and fun stuff with it. But now you have Nike creating digital content pieces that you also can let them wear. So now you have digital influencers. So I think we're going towards that space as well, where Nike will start using artifact clone X or other avatars that are being created to be part of the ecosystem. I think LeBron James
Yeah, I saw that.
got a clone X. So
Yeah.
so that's one of those things. And now you have dot swoosh coming up. And if you look at dot swoosh, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You already have your experts that in the whole team, in the company. So they only have to guide you how to create a more simplified way on connecting with your community and bringing them and onboarding them basically towards Web3 space.
So maybe you can explain, what is dot swoosh?
So I don't know much about dot swoosh. I just left, I think, when the dot swoosh started. But I think dot swoosh is the next version of how Nike wants to communicate with the community, to build together something. I think I saw some polls coming up like, hey, what kind of dunks or Air Forces do you like? And then you had to vote every week almost, which ones do you like? And I think I saw also some posts coming by that if you are a creator or you are a very creative person and good with visual designs, you can create those type of sneakers and people will be able to buy them off dot swoosh. And it's not only that you can design them, but you will also have a profit share of that,
Wow.
of your creation as well. So that's something that I've seen going through the whole internet space, and people are talking about it. And now you're co-creating with your community, and that's a whole different level than just releasing something and letting people buy. It's basically by the community for the community type of approach, which you can think about.
It's really fascinating for me because the way I look at it today, like what Web3 is really adding for brands is the ability to cultivate exactly that, a tribe, to cultivate a community in a new and meaningful way. Web2 ways where I think like the training doors or the training grounds for brands to engage with communities. We all had Facebook groups. Every brand had a Facebook page, and they had, or an Instagram page, whatever typical social media page, where you had a lot of followers. You'd post things that they would like to hear about, things that are different than the brand. And that was the early exercise, of brands suddenly having like I would say personas on the digital sphere where they can communicate with people. But now with Web3, it's kind of like sharing the ownership, sharing the brand. It's a new concept. It's disruptive. But for me, why I was really interested to speak to you specifically, due to your experience working for Coca-Cola, working for Nike, these are two brands that are topping the charts in terms of the earliest adopters of Web3 technology. And they're two different brands. One is focused on fizzy drinks, and I know Coca-Cola is going to kill me if they hear this. No, they have the entire beverage market. It's not only fizzy drinks, waters included, sure, right?
Yeah.
But on the other, right, all drinks, orange juice, whatever, right?
Yeah, also iced tea. Don't forget iced tea.
And iced tea, of course. Like you have
Fuse tea.
Fuse tea. Coca-Cola targets the entire beverage industry, right? So let's be very clear about that. But then you have Nike. Nike's crazy. It has from its very basic like gear that people wear for going to the gym, and there's the collectibles that are so sought after, like Jordans and all these like limited edition sneakers. So what is happening in both companies? Why are they entering Web3, and how have they been leveraging it so far?
From Coca-Cola, I don't know that much about how they're entering the space. I just see some posts coming by. But I think for Nike, I can talk a little bit more about Nike because I've been there for 5 years. So it's much easier for me to talk about that. Is if you look at sneakers, well, I was part of, sneakers is very, very community-based, community-focused platform where we do not only live events, they also do polls. They kind of break down the history of a certain particular sneaker as well. So it's not for your average person that goes and just wants to buy a pair of sneakers. It's really create for, okay, we want to focus on community and we want to educate them as well. And it's pretty smart that they're now like focusing on, okay, we have a whole community there, but we want to bring them on our journey as well. So now you see all the dot swoosh events going on through the US where people can come in and they get the whole explanation on what is it and how to work with it and what is your card going to give benefits to. And I kind of missed that part. I hoped I would be part of it. They would fly me over or something like that. But
you didn't get the Nike private jet?
No, sadly not. I'm still waiting for it. Yeah, I think eventually it should be kind of all over the world. Every Nike store should have like sessions going on to help onboard people that have that card. And the most important part is engaging with the community, right? That's why we are doing it. And with the whole Web3 NFT space booming now, it's all about co-creation. Web3 is all about community first, how to build with your community, but also listen to your community. And Web2 was more on, okay, we will just track you. We will see what you're searching for. And this is what we're going to advertise to you.
But I think it was interesting. So just to, in Web 2, though, yeah, there was that, but there was also like, okay, what kind of content I'm going to publish? Because I worked extensively in like creating like marketing strategies for Web 2 content in my past. So I'll be like, okay, so I know like, let's say this brand, their target audience also happens to enjoy yoga, but I'm selling tea, right? I'm selling wellness tea, but they enjoy yoga. So I'll put like some namaste style posts to communicate to them to the affinity of the subculture that is attracted to this tea product, for example, right? And I think a lot of marketeers were in that mindset, like how do we tap into the community that likes our product versus of us just pushing the product? Like I think good marketeers did that already, but Web3, where it makes it a lot more intimate, where you can actually have a conversation with your direct customer. Because yeah, people are commenting on your Instagram or liking it or whatever, but it's not the same when you tell them, hey, there's an NFT you can buy. You actually have to purchase as a fan. I'm putting money. Then I'm getting emotionally invested in the product that I'm buying from this brand. And now this brand is rewarding me with exclusive events. They get to meet officials from the company. They get to meet like the designers, the creators. They get to meet other fans that enjoy the products, right? They get to go to VIP shows like Nike's doing, right? Like they have all this community aspect. And so that seems to me an amazing way to retain like, your most loyalist fans. But it must be a complete new paradigm for marketing teams. So how do you guys are orchestrating these NFT community-driven activations with your existing team structures, right? Like,
that's hard to say because I think it's a whole new learning curve. But people like us that are already in the space already understand the value of community. If you look at the overall picture, who is joining first during every brand launch? If a brand went into NFT space, who's joining first? Those are brand loyalists. They're early adopters that want to be the first one to say, hey, I was there when it was launched, and doesn't want to be the second person. So basically, if you have a Clone X and now Dot Swoosh is being launched, you'll be telling the people of Dot Swoosh, yeah, so I have a Clone X and I was before you guys even joined. So it's a little bit bragging rights, but also early adopters. This is how marketing works, right? You definitely know that you will always have the brand loyalists, early adopters that want to have the newest thing. Even if it flops, they still can say like, yeah they screwed up, but still I have it. Type of moment.
Yeah, you can still spin it, right? Like it's like sneakerheads, like the guys who, for example, liked Yeezys, like they would go buy them, even if it's a flop launch. They'd be like, "Still, I got this Yeezy. I still got it."
And the worst part is, most of the times, those are the highest value in a couple of years. So
yeah, the flops are always popular for some reason. It's crazy.
So yeah, definitely. I think if you look at the whole space, it's always early adopters first. And if you as a brand can reach your community and early adopters first and use that as your marketing research tool as well. And that's what I believe what brands are not doing that much. and should be tapping in, you already have the whole world in one Discord. Everybody's using Discord, so you have the whole world.
Or Telegram.
Yeah, Telegram. But I think with Discord, you can do more topics. You have different channels. You can do.
You can do the same with Telegram.
Oh, really?
Now they changed that.
Yeah,
Yeah. You can do like a. But you have to pay premium, right? You have to pay the premium, and then. But honestly, like I agree with you. Like Discord and Telegram is really happening, but Discord has a specific audience. Telegram has another, and I think for each brand, it's relevant. Like Discord is for younger generation. I would say Z
Telegram
gamers.
Is more business. I feel.
Telegram is for business, exactly. For like executives on the go, even younger guys. Hey, okay, I'm 35, so people within the 30 range are on Telegram. I have Discord, but I honestly hate the experience, but I do get the utility of it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm also on Telegram and on Discord, but I kind of feel like with Discord, you can like organize topics a little bit more. So if you're interested in certain topics, you're more there. You see, when I'm on Discord, I see often people always in the creative section, but never in the general chat. So I think it gives you a little bit more flexibility. But going back to the marketing part is you have so many people of your brand or your community from your brand joining one place. Normally you pay a marketing agency to find different diverse groups or target groups that you want to conduct research on. Hey, do you like this color? Do you want this in purple? Do you want this in green? Now you have so many people and you just post a poll and say like, hey guys, we will airdrop you this. Just help us out with answering these questions. So let's say if you have 10,000 people that fills in like, okay, 5,000 people fills it in. And now you can break it down to demographic part, like Asia, Europe, US. And you will see people from Asia like the color green more. Europeans like the color red more, and US likes the color blue more. So now you have an idea, okay, if I launch this hoodie, I should make 500 pairs of the blue one and 20 pairs of the green one and that kind of thing. And then you just ship it, or you just ship one colorway in the US.
Yeah.
But now you airdrop them, or you tell them like, hey, we will send you the hoodies. The only thing that you have to do is show it on Instagram, help us out. We are giving it for you for free, And now, like, I'm not a big Instagram person, like mine is like private. I only use it for my family, but I still get like 100 people looking at my reel. So now if I post something like the new colorway with the new brand, and 100 people look at it, how many people are looking at your reel and see like the brand? But if you look at from an influencer side, where you just pay the influencer showcasing the product, okay, yes, they have 1 million or 500K followers. But in the end, not all the 500K will look at that product, right? So if you look at the long term, the ripple effect of using your community will be much higher.
Absolutely.
And it will be rippling further and further.
Absolutely.
Than just an influencer that has maybe 500K people following them and only 25K look at them.
So this is something that we have to discuss, right? This is really important for brands and marketeers specifically. One of the key figures that you're going to find out is that, organic engagements with Web3 incentives have 4 times the brand lift as paid media. So it doesn't matter how much money you're going to put into paid media. It's just the paid media, I would say curve is just increasing exponentially over the last 4 years. It has increased by over 80%. The customer acquisition cost on platforms like Meta or Google, due to privacy laws, due to iOS disabling, pixels from tracking users. So then you have to look at like, okay, how can I get genuine organic engagement? And this is where NFT has that promise, because you are inviting someone in to be part of your business, really, in a way or another, right? Like it could be symbolic in terms of giving direction on the next product. Let's say you're a creative like designer and you say, hey, I'm cultivating this NFT community, and this NFT community, anyone who holds a token will get to vote on the next product launch, or get access to the product before anyone else in the market, creating that bragging right, creating that exclusivity, creating these VIP experiences. And I think younger generations are definitely appreciating that. They understand it. It's native to them. It just makes sense. And it's clicking.
But if you look at the Adidas project, right? So you bought the NFT and you got tracksuit, hoodie, a beanie. And that's came with your NFT. So now you're just showcasing, walking in the city, just wearing it, and nobody knows what it is and start searching.
Some people do. And that's the thing is that the people you care about knowing know, right? And that's why you're wearing it.
I should put it different. People that know will know, but people will still be curious. Like, hey, I never seen this jacket. How did I even miss this drop? That's the same with artifact products as well. When you got the Clone X, you got, I think, airdropped the Dunk or the Air Force. I think Air Force. The sneaker. So now you have bragging rights. See, if you were early or if you had a Clone X, you would receive it as well. So now people will be interested in getting like, okay, I should get the Genesis NFTs because I get a lot of things in return. So, like I said, if you give away 5,000 hoodies to one person and he reaches 100 people just by putting on a reel, even if it's just friends and family, it's still 500K people being reached. And that by only 5,000 people of your community. So just imagine if you have 10K of people.
There's a ripple effect. There's clearly a ripple effect, and not only a ripple effect. This is the thing: is like reach is one thing. So this is what we call the brand lift, right? Like the brand lift is the reach. That's what we as marketeers always talk about: brand lift, awareness, reach, right? That's great. But then there's also conversion, which a lot of people don't see. The conversion is that when you have a loyal customer that is bought into your ecosystem, the increase of spend goes by 80% if they are like part of your NFT community. It happened to me, without me knowing. I love Ledger because that's where I would stare all my crypto is on Ledger. I use cold wallets. I don't use any exchanges, right? So when they launched the Ledger Pass, I immediately bought one. And I bought it because I want to get access to their marketplace. I'm a builder as well in this space, so I want to be able to put my product into their marketplace. But then out of nowhere, they were like, here's a limited edition black, Ledger Nano that is only for token holders. And I didn't need one. I already have 3 of those in my apartment. And I'm like, I'm going to buy a 4th one. Like, just because it's limited edition. And I'm like, oh, and I have the token now. Because, I'm going to give up the token in the future. I might not have that privilege anymore to get this limited edition drop. And I think I'm not the only one who gets that FOMO.
I almost want to just buy a Clone X just to get the Ledger. It looked so nice.
Right? And this is the third-party collaborations that people are not seeing yet, and marketeers are going to have to catch up with this because when you deal with the NFT world, when you deal with Web3, like the nicer thing is like you can give token holders from your collection privileges in another community, in another product. So like you said, like Clone X, for example, if you have an NFT from that, you'll get privileges in another community. You can get discounts to shows. For me, I have let's say the CPG pass that I own, the NFT. It gave me 95% discount on NFC Lisbon, which is usually a $700 ticket. I got it for $30, right?
Adidas is doing the same. So I wrote a small post about it yesterday and posted it this morning. Love auto post by LinkedIn, of course. So depending on your rarity or traits that your avatar or your Adidas alt will have, you will have certain benefits to certain products. So if you have probably a basketball type of avatar, after when they show or it's released, you will have probably benefits to maybe basketball type of clothes or tickets or something like that. And that's what basically Artifact is also doing did with, if you had an Alien clone, you got the Alien collection, so you could get the hoodie, the sneakers, the pants, I think, as well. So depending on the trades. So that's something that is also interesting, because it will now drive extra conversion uh, towards these type of brands as well in this space. Because hey, if you're not a basketball fan but you are a gamer, will be looking for gamer traits, right? When it's fully launched and all the avatars start showing what kind of traits they have, you want to have the gamer trait because you're only interested in gaming. So then you start selling your old one for the new one, and then you have like a whole supply demand thing going on that will help the brand not only push the price but also the conversion rate of the brand's income. So now you have a separate part in your balance sheet now that will probably say like sold NFTs or something like that, and or earned on NFTs. And that's where we kind of look into, where a lot of brands have to look into as well, because not everybody's in tracking, not everybody's in soccer or football or in basketball, and brands keep releasing a certain team, right? And not everybody likes it because they like a different team. Now you have a whole different type of way of looking at your community. Like, hey, if you like this, that's no problem. Just get that pass and you'll get access to those type of things. If you like this, just get that pass.
Do you know another thing that is also like useful and something we just talked about earlier as well? I just want to circle back to that. We talked about how sometimes flops becomes the most valuable things out there. Like Rolex, for example, released the Hulk. When the Hulk was first released, nobody liked it. And then it became the most sought after, most difficult watch to get, which is the Submariner with the green color. Not the Kermit, the Hulk, to be specific, right? And that became like it's like a $20,000 watch, or sometimes it can go up to 60,000 depending on the year and rarity and how many, And it became such a huge thing. Now, collectors that bought it at early stage for a cheap price, the brand Rolex did not get any value on the resale value of this brand. The person who invested gets it, but for brands, there's an opportunity here because of reseller fees.
Yeah.
So let's say you release a flop. So commercially didn't do well for you now, but in the future, it might become something that is very valuable. And guess what? Every time it is resold, you still get to get a fraction or a percentage of that increase in value. As a matter of fact, that's how BAYC made most of their money. Not on the initial sale. It's on the secondary market sale and the market, market activity.
Yeah. It's the royalties that they earn on it. And just what you said, like certain sneakers I've seen as well were not popular. I think Paris Saint-Germain Jordan 1 was not that popular. It was not even sold out when we launched it. And eventually, when it was off the website and a year later, it doubled, I think, in price. I don't know if it's still doubled because that market goes up and down pretty fast. It's almost like Bitcoin. But you can definitely see like certain sneakers are not really like popular when it's launched, but on the moment when it's off the market and 2-3 years later, when they see a celebrity wearing it, or it's somewhere on Instagram or somebody showing it, it's suddenly just like, hey, where's that sneaker? How do I get it? I really like the colorway and that kind of things. And then they start searching and probably paying 3 times the price for it. And I think that's the whole thing with it was same with me with Bored Ape Yacht Club. Like, yeah, one ETH for a JPEG monkey. Yeah, no, I rather sit on my ETH. And then I saw it going up slowly, and now 60. I'm like, oh, stupid me. I could have got like so many.
That's me. The same thing. I feel the same way about the Trump NFT. Someone sent it to me as a joke. He's like, "Oh, check it out! Like Trump launched an NFT collection," and I'm like, "I would buy a bunch of these because I know he has a following. Yeah. Like, it's gonna go up in price." But I didn't because I was like, I don't want to buy his NFT. But like, the price just shot up to the roof. It's like,
at first I thought it was like a scam project. Somebody just went through it.
Me Too impersonated him.
Yeah.
I didn't imagine that he would be actually like I imagine Trump doing that pre being elected to office. I didn't expect him to do it after.
I was questioning even
So
like, does he even know what an NFT is?
yeah, I felt like it's probably like Jared Kushner or
Yeah.
someone was like, "Hey, do you know what's a good idea? Let's raise some money, like
No,
building
for
an
me,
NFT
when I saw it, I
collection."
was like, yeah, I'm not sure. It feels like a scam because during that time we had like goblins coming out and all those crazy NFTs that had like a very pumpy and dumpy moments, and that's why I was like, yeah, I don't trust this to connect my wallet towards it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
honestly, that world of pump and dump that happened with the NFT, just last year,
yeah,
it feels like it's like the NFT world is like every year is like 7 years, like dog years. Like the amount of things that happen in a year, it's ridiculous. Like I just remember last year, it was like the peakest peak of the NFT sales, right? Like we're expecting $80 billion of sales in like the next 2 years, right?
yeah.
And then it went up and down. It keeps fluctuating like everything else. But one thing that caught my attention during that period is that truly the communities that were being built there were the good ones survived, right? Like if you look at the good projects, they survived, they built it properly. The ones that built it on hype disappeared. And we really need to differentiate between good
Yeah.
projects, shit projects, and then just unfortunate projects. Because there's some projects that started with good intentions, the market hit it at the bad time, and they never got the chance to flourish. So there's everything in the
No,
spectrum, really.
I totally agree with you on that. I think you have to kind of be also lucky, especially as a brand, because I saw some brands coming up with hype and then it dozed away slowly in the corner, and you don't hear anything about it. But on that note, I kind of like what Puma did. Puma had a very chill launch. They didn't hype up too much. They didn't say much. They just start with cat blocks, I think, and then start slowly branch off to their own project. But still, you don't hear so much about Puma, but they are building it very quietly and with their community. And slowly, I started seeing posts coming up about Puma's project. Don't sleep on it. And then it got my attention because they launched an NFT where you could claim your sneaker. Now they have
Yeah.
something that is a Puma and a PFP collection.
Yeah, they have the 75
Yeah,
year like limited edition NFT
yeah.
drop with this like Puma that
I I kind of jumped in.
looks like the Cheetos guy a little bit
Yeah,
though.
I jumped in on that one because yeah, Puma.
Your first love?
Yeah, Puma was my first love as well. So now you see like they are creating like three different use cases. Like the PFP version will be more on community based. It will give you to certain, I think, access to certain part of the stores where you have like a token gated access, and then the sneaker part will be like almost the artifact way. Like you burn it, you get a new one, and then you get to claim another sneaker, and then you burn it again or something like that. Don't kill me if I'm having it wrong. I didn't put too much research on it. I just like to.
No, I get it, man. But you know
Yeah,
what? Like for me, it was really exciting to see Puma. It's true, man. It was in like February this year they launched it. It's about 10,000 PFP project
yeah,
to actually bring back PFPs because I really love PFPs. I don't care what people say. I've enjoyed PFP projects because one, there's rarity, and I grew up on Pokemon cards, and so I enjoy the concept of
me too.
collecting things that are rare. I love watches as well. It's an obsession of mine. Today I'm not wearing one, but generally speaking, and for them to actually say, okay, PFPs are not bad because it kind of got that stigma. PFPs are bad, but they're so much fun. I like changing my profile picture on Telegram, on Twitter to a project that I'm behind or I'm representing. It's
The one
nice.
that I have on my Telegram is from the Phoenixes or something like that. I only bought it
Okay.
because they were testing or saying like, hey, you can now buy it with credit card on what was Shopify, and I was just curious, like, okay,
Yeah.
let me buy it with credit card. Let's see how it works, and it
Oh,
worked, and I
nice.
got it, and I'm like, okay, I really like this bird, so I'm sticking with it. So it's most of the time my PFP on Telegram, WhatsApp. I use it even for my website. So
Oh no, I have something a lot more generic. I have a Dead Fellas one.
okay.
But the Dead Fellas one that I have is not the one that I earned. It's the one that was airdropped to me
Uh,
as a reward, being part of another community. And I'm like, I like Dead Fellas. I am gonna use that one. But no, I have other ones that I bought, but it's for more. Most NFTs that I bought, honestly, is from artists that I like their work, and they don't have any other, value
yeah.
than just I like the artist and I like their work and I want to support them.
Yeah, I think it's important that we also look at it like that as well, because you never know when they break out, right? But also,
No, but it's I genuinely like I have an artist side to myself. I went to art school before I dropped and I went to law school because of like I went from art to law. But when I was in art school, I just really enjoyed just that how creative and free people are that decide to make this as a choice to do a living. They're just it's hard. It's tough. It's the tougher choice to make. It's an easier choice to go corporate than to be an artist.
that's true. But if you look at it now, I think this is their time to be an
Yeah, but
artist.
exactly.
This is their
The
time.
times are changing.
Yeah. But also, like, we often say, like, yeah, PFP is too cartoonish, too kid-like, or why do we want even something that looks like this? Let's be honest. Somebody paid almost 120K for a banana taped on the wall.
Yeah, exactly. Bring it from the art world, from an artistic perspective. Like, what's the difference?
People are paying for invisible art. They just go to the art gallery that has nothing.
I'm pretty sure that banana doesn't exist anymore. It's probably rotten by now, right? Like,
but people have been paying for an art gallery that has invisible art. Is basically an empty space.
Oh wow, I didn't know about that. Invisible art.
Yeah, you should check it. That artist said.
So what do I take home with me?
Invisible art, of course.
Of course, it's like that the king's cloak, right? Like the invisible king's cloak.
So somebody paid a high amount of for the invisible statue. I think I saw it passing. I have to search up again for it.
There's a point between things having an actual artistic value and making a statement to the point of ridiculous. Like this is the point of absolute nonsense. Like
definitely, and that's why I always say, like, it really depends. Like, okay, a banana taped on the wall, you pay 120 for it. For what? But you pay Bored Ape Yacht Club almost the same price, but it comes with utility. So it has a ridiculous looking monkey on the JPEG, but you have to look behind it.
Okay.
You have access to a special community. You have access to advisors, probably. You have IP rights that you can use for commercial. You have
not only you have IP rights to use for your own products and commercials, you have IP rights to license to other brands.
Yeah, and that's what Adidas is doing as well. You have IP rights with the Phase 1 or what's coming. So you have so much utility. Yeah, you pay 120K for it, for a picture that you can print out or Control Save or something like that. But the utility behind it, that's what people often forget. Yeah, the picture may look ridiculous, but the utility, what can be used for, that's the most important part that you have to look at. It's your bank card. Your bank card is probably ugly also, has an ugly design, but what do you use for it?
But it can be both though, right? Like it could have an amazing artwork and an amazing utility. If you hit both, then you have a home run project.
Yeah. In a few years back, ING Bank in the Netherlands would give you the option to put the photo on it.
Yes.
And let it print it out. So I could put a Bored Ape Yacht Club image on it, and people would say like, "Wow, this is one ugly image," and I would say like, "Well, it still gives me cash when I need it."
Yeah, it's $1 image.
I still can pay for it. It has utility.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So I think that's what we miss as a community. We always look at the front side, but not often at the back side of the whole project.
Okay, then let's talk about some of these details, right? We talked about the different utilities, access, perks. This is something a brand can do typically with their existing marketing team. You already probably have someone from events, someone for, social media. You have your machine. It's just really about taking that campaign, adding it into the machine, and making sure that they're executing on it. Create an event for these people, do it, etc. That we get. Sounds awesome. How about emerging technologies? Metaverse is all the buzz, right? Despite the metaverse rise and fall, I don't know if you've seen the last Metaverse Fashion Week, everyone was criticizing that there was tons of brands, but very little people attending. And then it comes to the games and the games world and brands putting their products in the games world where it has a lot more engagement, like Fortnite, Roblox, other actual
Coachella on Fortnite.
Yeah, stuff like that. So what's happening here, and why do you think that's becoming I've seen top luxury brands like putting that as their position to be a gaming native company. Why is that becoming a thing?
I think the graphics are much better. If you look at previous digital fashion week, I think it was just more for brands. They probably didn't put too much KPIs on it. They saw a lot of community of their community going to Decentraland, going towards those type of events, and they just want to be part of it. So, hey, we follow where our community is type of approach. But now, if we look at it, the graphics have been changing so fast. It's getting much better. Now we have Unreal Engine 5 type of graphics. You have more detail in projects coming. So it's kind of normal that brands now are looking into, okay, we want something that looks much more realistic, that has more quality in graphic wise, and we just want to follow our community. And if our community is going to the Unreal Engine Fortnite project, then we have to follow there. But it doesn't mean they don't have to connect with Decentraland or Roblox or Sandbox. What Tommy Hilfiger did was pretty cool. Is you entered the space and you had like 3 portals, one going to Decentraland, one going to Sandbox, one going to Roblox, and you just would go through one of those portals to get towards that space. But now you probably will have also one going towards Fortnite Unreal Engine area soon, I guess, or the next Fashion Week. So I see just this as a natural evolution of graphics. We start with Nintendo, and now we're going to the Switch or PlayStation. We started with PlayStation 1 with all those blocks type of face, and now we're going to PlayStation 5 where everything looks so real. So it's just a matter of evolution in the tech industry, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
And old school. Yeah. I think in the end, nobody will be 24/7 in the metaverse. I will not be 24/7. Then the biggest challenge will be is how to connect the digital way of thinking in your retail physical spaces, and that's where things will become fun. Because if you have something, an event going on, like let's say in Fortnite or the Fortnite type of space, how can you connect that with your retail experience? So on the moment you can do, say, like, hey, we have certain challenges. If you go to our retail store and you purchase this, or if you scan a certain code at our retail store, you have free access, or you get a digital apparel or a wearable that you want to, or you can select, that you can select, sorry, in our space. So now you're connecting two different worlds together and bringing traffic towards also your physical stores in this space, but with a fun type of element connected to it. But also you can connect physical attributes or physical apparel, wearables, to your digital products. So on the moment, if you buy a certain jacket, you scan a code and you have now a digital version of it for your digital collection in that game. So now you're combining both worlds, and I think that's the whole area that we have to go towards, and it will help the brands a little bit more as well in creating traffic.
So building the traffic between the brand and their different digital, it's all about cultivating the users. It's all about taking these users and taking them through both digital and physical touch points, right? So it's not replacing like existing channel, just augmenting it with different methods of entertainment. Ultimately, that's what you're providing.
Yeah, we see it. We the same thing with AR, right? You see with the Snapchat filters now you can try things on without even wearing it physically, and those type of graphics will just get better and better. Eventually, you won't even see the difference anymore if you're wearing it, the real thing or a digital thing. And it's all about having fun. And sometimes I feel like brands forget about it. They get too corporate and forget how they even started with the community by having fun. And that's the element that you have to
exactly.
look into.
It's like what is the incentive for the community member, right? Like you're in the metaverse, you're either there to have fun, meet people, or get something in reward. So I've seen a lot of brands like they will incentivize, come attend this digital event, we'll give you a POAP, which is proof of attendance. So you get this QR code, you can get to collect it, or you have inserted your wallet address and they know that you've logged in, therefore they airdrop you the collection.
Yeah, POAPs are pretty interesting. I believe POAPs is getting more utility. I saw some messages coming that now POAPs will have utility or are coming soon with utility. But POAPs are nice memorabilia for brands to use. Let's say if you go to a concert and you get a memorabilia, and 10 years later you go towards in your wallet and you see like, oh wait, 10 years back I went to that event. And if you click on it, you have like videos and pictures and so much things. So it gives you more now than just like going with the paper ticket and then lose the ticket or throw it away or something like that. It gives you more
exactly
attachment.
And people are using them as well, NFTs, as tickets in themselves, and then people get to collect them. And we've seen people that use them as a season pass, let's say for like every year you have priority, you just have to pay a smaller fee to renew, and things of that sort.
Yeah, definitely. I believe that NFTs will be the future of the tickets of your air flight or concerts or something like that. Because every time there's a concert, there's a certain theme towards it. So why not create an NFT and you just link it to your token pass app, and that's your ticket. You just scan it, and now you're in and enjoying the whole event.
Absolutely. So the use cases are endless, and I would like to cover all of these. But next, I want to cover a very important topic, is the pitfalls of brands entering the Web3 space. We hear a lot about the successes. Everyone tries to avoid the failures. So maybe you can run us through some of the pitfalls that a lot of brands fall into when they're entering the space, and what can they do to avoid that?
The most pitfalls that I often see is that brands are going more with the same mindset of Web 2. They go there, they drop the NFT, and they give them the product that they kind of paid for, overpriced, of course. And then they kind of silently go through the back door and have not that much communication, or don't tell like, okay, phase 2 or phase 3 is coming. So that's the biggest pitfall that I often see. Because when you come in this space and create a whole community, the community comes with certain expectation because they have seen Artifact, Adidas, Puma, Bored Ape Yacht Club, Luck, Lacoste. I'm not that much familiar with Lacoste, but Doodle and that kind of type of projects that are very engaged with their community, and they give them perks, their benefits um, as well. So that's kind of what I kind of miss and see that brands often neglect eventually and overestimate. They often think like, hey, we're a big brand, so we'll come in this space, we'll just do our thing, we'll drop this NFT and then slowly leave or don't communicate anymore. And that's the thing that I kind of feel bad for the whole community when that happens.
That's a very good example. I think you bring up, the aspect of communication, and I've dealt with a lot of brands through discovery journeys, and the challenge is always between two things, right? Whether they want to communicate, but they're too scared to communicate early enough, right? So they're like, we don't want to overpromise because we need to still double check this and that, and the decision trees in corporates is quite large.
Yeah.
So they're like, we're eager to push this on a specific deadline for whatever reason it is. There's an activation coming up. There's a product launch coming up, and we need to launch this NFT. And then we're going to figure out what are the utility story. Then we're going to figure out. Yeah. So this is like a pitfall that I see a lot as well. It's like, then maybe reorchestrate your priorities. Make sure you have the narrative right before you go out to market, or be clear with the market about that. Just don't be silent about,
Yeah, and just what you said, it's all about like, okay, let's say if I'm working for a big brand, I first want to know, okay, what are the utilities? What can we sign off right now? What can we promise? And when can we launch the NFT? So on that point, when you start communicating with your community, you are more at ease because these topics, utilities are signed off. This is what you can expect for sure. So after that, you start communicating faster towards the management or C levels, like, hey, we are planning this and this and this for the whole year. So then you sign that off, because we know corporate takes a little bit of time. So you will have to work like few months up ahead and start thinking about, okay, in December, I want to do this, but I need to have it signed off this month to do it in December. And we often see, or at least I've often seen, is that people promise like, yeah, we're going to do this. And then when it hits December, yeah, we're still waiting for the sign. We need to have it signed off. We asked the director previous week to look at it. So if you're from the brand itself, you're a moderator or you're the comms person that is active on Discord, as the face of the brand, you kind of have to know that it already works like that. So you have to be well aware of certain deadlines to have it signed off, because if you do it a few months ahead, you can bug your director every week on signing it off, and eventually he will get so sick and tired, he will sign it off before you even hitting December. And that's the thing that we often, or at least I often have seen, that too last minute type of approach that kind of bums the whole community out, because then it's pushed and it's pushed and it's pushed, and eventually everybody starts questioning even the integrity of the brand itself. It will hurt the brand more by having your brand loyalists pissed off than people not in the community, because now they will be communicating like, hey, we bought this NFT for this price and we only got this, and they promised us this, and they're not delivering, or they're not even communicating. And I think that's the worst part for a brand to have.
I think like we have a clear example of that. Like the Porsche example was like one of those infamous NFT flops, right? Yeah. But they fixed it, because what I liked about it, and I always talk about this because everyone remembers the flop. They don't remember how they fixed it. The way they turned around, they said, "We listened, community, and now we're communicating back." And here, but it was an awakening moment for me when I saw that. One, it shows humbleness on Porsche, which I loved. I love Porsche as a brand, so if you guys want to send me a car, I'm happy to promote you more. But it's a lovely car, lovely company, good brand, and has a big loyalist fans. But the problem that happened there is that they didn't communicate enough. They issued a product that people didn't want to buy. They didn't really consult with their community that well. And then they kind of were like, okay, let's listen. How can we fix this? They got suggestions from their actual community, and they like followed on them. And then it was
I think the next day or something
It
like
was like,
that,
no,
right?
I don't know if it was the next day. It took like a week, I think, to observe the
Yeah,
shock of like, oh, because you plan everything as a marketeer. You're planning everything, you're
yeah,
strategizing, and then you launch it and you're like, oh, I messed up. There is something that
yeah,
I should have fixed. And now you're like, how do I address it? Right? Like it's crisis mode. Let's fix this. Right? I feel for creators that go through this. And I think what you have said is really like perfect. It's like, take it into consideration, breathe, understand why are you launching the NFT, what are the objectives, what are the goals, did you get the right approvals, work through your network, take them, whatever your company process is. If it's a metric system
yeah.
where everyone needs to be on board, make sure everyone is on board before you launch the collection, because it is just as important as launching a physical product. Like just because it's digital, it's not like launching a social media competition. It's not like launching like a social media post. It's a lot more than that. It's a product launch.
Yeah, definitely, and that you should act it and use it as a product launch. Treat it as a product launch, because it's not something that you just launch on a website, and if it goes well, it goes well. If it doesn't launch, oh well, we will see what the technical difficulties are, and we will launch it tomorrow. No, this is a whole different space that you're entering. It's a whole different new revenue system that you're entering. It's basically when you were a retail store and now you're launching something on a web shop as a web shop. It's a whole different experience that you have to do it correct, or you basically are screwed in a kind of way. But in the whole metaverse or Web3 experience is you're directing it to your brand loyalists and early adopters, and those are the hardcore people that are joining, and they will definitely let you know if you screw up.
They're your biggest fans and harshest critics.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why I kind of like this space as well, because I it's not only brands that screw up, but I've seen also brands like asking the community, like, "Hey, what are your plans? What do you want to do with this?" Or what? I think one of the projects that I was Flying Formation, and Flying Formation is created by Phil Knight, Phil Knight's company, Division Street. So I got an exclusive Air Max One, signed by him, but signed by Tinker Hatfield, and not everybody claimed the product. So there was like only 120 pairs made,
Wow.
signed by hand with a picture and an NFT connected to it.
Wow.
But not everybody claimed it. And they asked us like, okay, so what do we do with the sneakers that are not collected by people, that are not claimed? And eventually everybody said destroy it. So probably 30, I think 36 or even a little bit more sneakers of the 120 hand signed by Tinker Hatfield has been destroyed. And they listened to the community. They made pictures how it was being destroyed, and video like, hey, we listened. We are not going to resell it, or we're not going to use it for prizes.
Yeah.
This is it. Look at it. Now you are more, you have something more exclusive in your
Absolutely.
hands. So I think that's the whole thing.
This is the best thing you can do. When a project flops, let the community decide, right? That way they take ownership of the flop. I mean, I've worked with a project that something similar happened. They launched an NFT collection, and then that collection did not completely sell out, and they didn't have much left. They only had like 100 left, and it got stuck there, and they just want to close the sale. So the community was like, distribute them to everyone who already bought for free. Just make it random. Just put an algorithm to make it random. They voted. They executed. Everyone was happy. They were like, okay.
And that's the thing. Flying Formation had a hard start. I'll be honest. I was one of the biggest critics there. Like, hey, where's the communication? What's going on with another community member? He was even worse. But but eventually they took up, and they kind of started doing more and communicating more. And They recently launched the Oregon Huarache with a special colorway, the SB Dunks in a special colorway, and they listen to the community, and that's what's all about.
To be honest with you, the only position that I keep talking about with people, like the more I talk to companies, the more I explore bigger brands. I've worked for bigger brands like you. I was on their in-house. I was in the agency side. I was in every possible side of it. And one thing that I always realize is that with every generation of technology, there's a new skill set that comes to play. During the social media marketing boom, we had social media strategists, social media content managers, media buyers. We had all these different, new roles that popped up that services the explosion of social media. And today, I think, and it has a much more integral role than any digital marketeer that has sprung in the past, is chief community officer. Because to cultivate a community, to build it to be organic and sustainable and actually produces value for the brand, whatever the objective is. If you're Nike, you might have a community of shoe designers that are submitting infinite line of creativity of how you can develop and launch your next product, right? So you have a million Kanyes at your disposal, which is really amazing for a brand that requires creative inputs, but it can also be something more than that. Like the Bored Apes Yacht Club, where these guys are licensing the brand and they're entering into agreement, turning it into a restaurant franchise and turning it into advertising billboards. And, the brand is everywhere. It's growing on its own. But for that to grow, you need a chief community officer, a person that dictates the strategy for the community, building the DAOs, governing the daily interactions. Then you have juniors who are moderators that have to be on the Discord and Telegram and bringing people from other communities and creating collaborations across communities. That entire new spectrum of roles that are emerging, I think is wonderful because it's going to open up an opportunity. Like people are losing jobs in scale right now with the whole introduction of ChatGPT. Right. So there's another opportunity here. It's actually all about human connection.
Yeah.
Instead of the machine.
About ChatGPT, I understand that whole AI will definitely make our lives a little bit easier when it comes to type of collaborating. When you're typing something in Word and you're typing a whole sentence and you get a suggestion like, hey, I think this way of writing it's much better. Okay, I'll do that. But I believe that eventually AI will be more integrated in video games and Metaverse. Because in the video game world, you have always those random characters that walk around, and now you can communicate with them and get an intellectual, semi-intellectual answer back. And it would be funny if you're walking outside of the city and suddenly you get killed by that NPC walking around because you pissed them off in kind of way.
And that NPC has a grudge on you now. Every time it sees you, it's like that guy.
Yeah, but it creates a more interactive world if you look at it in that type of way, because now it's more static. You just go in the video game, you go towards NPCs, you get your quest, and you go out, and that's it. But now you have a whole different type of storyline that you can connect behind the whole game, even. So it will help definitely video games in the future as well.
Amazing. I was speaking to Chris Ebeling in the last episode, and he was talking about the same thing, how they're using artificial intelligence to build things faster and utilize it in so many creative ways. But it has been absolutely a pleasure, Krishna, to have you here. So much learning, so much great discussions. I wish the conversation was longer, but we know both of our time is restricted. But one final question for everyone listening, especially for brands and marketeers that are very eager to explore the Web3 landscape. What advice or resources would you recommend to help them embark on this journey and get to learn more about Web3 and how they can use their creativity to create meaningful engagements for their customers?
I think for brands, I would suggest leverage the power of your community. Your community puts you there, and the community can always bring you further in this new space as well. So I would definitely say use your community, use the creativity, because solutions can come from all places. and yeah, just cooperate with them. You never know where there's a great idea coming from that will help your brand, and that's the way it should be, I think. So that's the best answer that I can give.
Thank you so much, Krishna. It has been a pleasure.
Awesome.
And I will just put your contact details for everyone to get in touch in the description box below.
Thank you. Same here.